Picture this. It's a cold winter's day as you wander the streets of Japan. The frost begins to nip at your fingers and nose, and you just so have happened to forgotten your gloves at home. You think you'll just have to endure this cold, but as you stroll, you spot one of the thousands of vending machines throughout the country, where inside you see a warm can of soup. You shamble over quickly, fingers shaking as you try to put the coins into the machine, but you manage, and as the hot can dispenses, its touch brings sensation back into your hands, its contents rejuvenating you for your continued journey. Now, this is a shared experience for many a traveler who visit overseas, with one of the most memorable of these soups being the canned corn potage soup. Now, I've known many people, and especially Vtubers, where the first thing they do after they touch down is look for a can of this stuff to warm their bones and nodes. But not all of us are going to be able to hightail it to the land of the setting moon every time we get a hankering for it. So instead of wallowing in longing and despair, or paying God knows how much to import it, which I know some of you bastards would do, I'm going to show you our way of making corn potage soup at home so you can get a bit more experience and have this recipe in your repertoire. So yo, I'm Valley Song, and welcome to Cooking for VTubers. So before you start cooking, try to have all your mise en place or ingredients on hand and measured out if you can. This will make everything a lot faster and just easier for you. I'll have everything that we use in the comments down below. So first we're going to dice up about half an onion. You want it to be relatively fine, but don't be too concerned about uniformity or anything like that, as it's all going to get blitzed up later. Also in the future, I plan on doing a dedicated video dedicated to knife skills, because I know a lot of y'all cannot be trusted with knives, so hopefully we can get y'all somewhat competent. But for this, just cut the onions down vertically from root to stem, and then turn 90 degrees and then make straight down even cuts. This will give you a relatively fine dice that, again, it doesn't really matter too much because it's all going to get blitzed up later. So next I'm going to slice up some bacon to be used as the base for our potage. If you're vegetarian or don't like bacon, this is completely optional and you can just omit it out entirely. But from here, we're going to go to the stove top and get the pan going on a medium to medium-low heat. We're going to put the bacon in, trying your best to have all the pieces be laid flat and have direct contact with the pan, and then we're going to render out all the fat to get the bacon nice and crisp. A trick I learned is partway through cooking, you can add a little bit of water to the pan and then cover it to help the fat render out faster. If you're doing this, add enough water to barely cover the bacon, but you don't have to fully submerge everything. You're going to let this go until all the water has evaporated and the bacon at this point should be nice and crisp. If it's not, you can let it go a little bit longer, but once it's to your desired doneness, you can remove it and save it for later. Now to the pan, we're going to add a little bit of butter, and once that's melted, add the onions in to saute until they're all cooked through. If you're not using bacon for whatever reason, just start around here and just use more butter than we did to give the onions and base a good flavor. But we're going to use the onions to scrape up the fond that built up on the bottom and continue to stir until everything is all cooked through here. For us, it took about 7 minutes to cook everything through, but since all stoves are different, it may take you longer or it may take you less time. And since all stoves are different, you may need to bring down the heat a bit as we don't want anything to burn. We just want some nice color on there. Just give it your attention and don't fuck off to watch TikTok or anything and you should be fine. And yes, I'm looking at you, pay attention. But once the onions are done, we're going to add about 1 can of corn that's been drained into the pan. I'm using canned corn because it's convenient and I always have it on hand. If you're using fresh corn, feel free to do so. About 2 cobs will be the equivalent of 1 can. But we're going to incorporate that together and then add about a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of dried parsley. If you want to add more or less of anything, feel free to do so as it's your food. I don't care. Something else I forgot to mention is that canned corn typically has some added salt to it, which is why I'm not adding any here. So if you're using fresh corn, I'd recommend adding some additional salt here as well, but again, it's your food, your prerogative, do what you want. From here, we're going to stir everything together quickly as we don't want the paprika to burn or stick to the pan at all. We just want everything to become a bit fragrant and well incorporated. And hey, if you are using fresh corn, I'd recommend roasting it a bit before adding it in, as that'll give some nice depth of flavor and some good smoky qualities to the dish as well. But hey, it's all what you want to do and how lazy you're feeling, I don't care. After about a minute or so, we're going to add about 1 1/4 cup of water into the pan and then cover with a lid. We're going to let that simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes on a low heat until everything is nice and tender. After everything is simmered for a bit and has become a lot more tender, we're going to transfer everything to a blender or food processor and blend it all together until it's smooth or to your desired texture. If you have a hand or immersion blender, that works great as well, and hell, probably even better, as you can do everything in the pan and not worry about having to transfer everything and spilling, because again, I don't trust any of y'all. But once the mixture is done blending, we're going to return to the stove on a low heat. For us, we probably could have blended it a little bit more, but it's fine. Also, if you want a really smooth potage, you can strain your mixture before adding it back into the pan in order to remove any solids or larger pieces. We're not doing this because we can't be fucked to, but that's an option you can do. From here, we're going to add some black pepper, some MSG, and about 1 cup of heavy cream. If you don't want your potage as rich, you can do about half heavy cream, half milk, or even just all milk instead. Again, it's up to you and your taste. From here, we're going to stir everything together, making sure to scrape the bottom of the pot to ensure nothing sticks, and then we're going to cover that and let it simmer for another 10 minutes or so. Once that's done, be sure to taste for seasoning. For us, we're going to be adding about another 1/4 teaspoon of salt just to have everything come together nicely and for all those flavors become a lot brighter. But once that's done, the potage is to your taste, you can serve it up into bowls. And yes, we're using a measuring cup because we had no ladles available to us, don't add us. To serve, garnish with some pepper, some additional cream, and some of the bacon that we crisped up earlier. And you don't have to be a tryhard like us, just make it easy for you. But there we go, corn potage. Now this is a very versatile and customizable dish that can be done numerous ways and adjusted to your preference. So if you make this, feel free to add anything extra that you want, take out anything else you don't want. Again, it's your food, your taste, I don't care. But yeah, the best way I can describe this soup is comfort. It's rich, sweet, creamy, and put simply, it hits the spot, especially when it's cold outside. So yeah, make this dish for winter or anytime honestly, as it's good any time of year, and it makes a fantastic appetizer or even just a standalone meal. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us, and we'll see you next time on Cooking for VTubers. Try not to burn down your kitchen in the meantime. Goodbye.